This is SportsZone, ATV's flagship show. Just in case you forgot, we're great. I'm your host, Ben Florence. We got a panel of experts?
Gentlemen.
Maybe,
all-star cast.
Certainly not gentlemen, but maybe an all-star cast. First up, we got Mr. Michael Gardner. Good friend of mine.
Always.
How are you, sir?
Good to be back. Glad we have made the maiden voyage. We have smashed the champagne bottle on the SS SportsZone 2014.
Absolutely.
It only took till February.
And nobody's more excited for the year 2014 than our good friend Jaron Berman.
Woo! Yeah, I am.
How are you?
I'm doing well and fine. Thank you, sir. My
Thank
liege.
you.
Bernie fine.
Bernie.
Oh,
Last but certainly not least, the one that
Hey,
may actually bring some insight, maybe? I don't know.
Better than them.
Dylan Choate, how are you, sir?
Not bad, not bad. I'm glad to be back in SportsZone. Finally getting it started up. It's going to be a great semester.
SS
We're going to be doing it.
SSX tricky, but we'll talk a little Olympics later.
Ooh.
First, we're going to talk about the story that came out last Sunday night after we tried and failed to get an episode of SportsZone out. Michael Sam, former Missouri defensive end, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and All-American, while expected to be a third to fifth round draft pick, came out as gay in interviews with the New York Times and ESPN. And Mike, it appears he is on track, were he to get drafted. He's expected to get drafted, become the first ever openly gay player in the NFL. We've talked about this issue before when Jason Collins came out last year, that people really weren't certain when we would have like an openly gay NFL player. You know, there's a reputation of having the macho locker room, all the hazing, all that nonsense, but it appears that we are in line to have that. What are your thoughts?
I think it's interesting that he's a college player getting ready to go into the NFL world instead of just a current player who came out while he was on a team. Because the reaction is a lot different. Because now basically everyone's pinning his draft status and where he's going to go based on his sexuality instead of him being in the league and, oh, why didn't he tell people sooner? And that could have been a lot worse than what it is now. Interesting that they're setting the draft as sort of his, not can he play, not that he's Defensive Player of the Year and arguably college football's best conference.
Yep.
So, I mean, I hope they just focus on his physical talents and the way he plays. Although he is undersized and, you know, depending on where he goes and where he fits. Surprised that the NFL, majority of the NFL is actually very accepting of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. It's good that it's going out into the mainstream, into the NFL, one of the world's most successful organizations. So it's a good step in the right direction.
And Jaron, you know, Mike talked about it and touched upon it about the draft status. It's interesting that in the grand scheme of things, the initial reaction, oh, but what will this do to his draft status? You know, opposed to everything else that's at issue. But that's the kind of world we live in. And Jaron, I did mention, expect to be middle round player. Is a bit of a tweener, defensive end, possibly off outside linebacker. But there was a piece in Sports Illustrated. On the website, and they talked to a few personnel guys, I think 5 of them. All spoke off the record, and Peter King had a couple more the next morning. They all said that his draft stock is going to be hurt now because he came out now. There are a bunch of people that push back against that don't know it's true, but what's your thoughts?
I mean, he's a great talent. We've seen some Missouri games, so it's clear he's a great talent. I think, you know, not a first-round, second-round talent maybe, but I think a third, 4, or 5, definitely. Unfortunately, you know, you read, there's a lot of ignorance in this world, and of course in the league when you have this, like, when you have the Richie Incognito scandal, which I'm not even going to touch upon, it's just getting out of control.
Well, you just did.
Well, it's just getting out of control. You know, it's like a new day. Each day there's something that we don't, it's just getting ridiculous. But, you know, there's a lot of ignorance in this league. Jonathan Vilma came out the other day, said if the Saints would ever draft Sam, he would be uncomfortable because he'd be afraid that Sam would.
I think he actually came out about that. He did an interview, I think, with Outside the Lines before he came out.
Did he?
Yeah. So,
okay.
But I think now he's trying to walk back a little bit.
You can't on that, though.
Yeah.
No, you can't on that. And it's like, oh, if he looks at me the wrong way. Well, what do you mean he looks at you the wrong way? Like we were discussing over there's the symposium. There's the rookie symposium. You know, try to have to allow integration and kind of get a basic guidelines of the clubhouse. But clearly, if there's players, Not many of them, but if there's some players that are nervous about this, then clearly the symposium isn't working. And regarding his draft status, if he's not drafted, I think he'll go drafted. But if he goes undrafted, then the NFL. I don't want to say it's a joke, but the personnel and the executives, there's got to be a lot of changes, a lot of things addressed at that point.
Yeah, and Dylan, what was interesting is that he came out to his Missouri teammates back in August, and they've apparently there were some front office people around the NFL that knew already that he was gay. But so now, what's the next step? I mean, the draft's in May. Training camps start not too long thereafter. What's the next step for a player like Sam that now he will be known as not for his exploits, but for being an openly gay NFL player? What is that next step for him or the league at large?
Well, I think in the long run, this is actually going to end up helping Michael Sams. Because if you think of it now, he comes out now, before the season, before the draft, before the combine even. So what this is going to do is it's getting all the hype out now. People are talking about him. They're looking at his stats. They're looking at tape of him. He's going to go into the combine. He's probably going to get a lot more hype now than he would at the combine. Whether that's good or bad, we don't know. But he gets to the season. They're going to follow him through training camp. But I think very similar to the Manti Te'o sort of issue last year, it'll be big and talked about for the beginning of the season, but slowly it's just going to fade off. He's going to be a player. He's a rookie, mid-rounds, so the chances of him starting on an NFL team to start out right now, not too good, so he'll probably be a backup to start.
Yeah.
So he'll be playing, he'll be getting some TV time on ESPN, interviews, whatnot, but he said he just wants to be a football player, and that's all he wants to do. So I think eventually this is just going to kind of fade off, and he'll be known as the football player who just so happens to be gay. It's not going to be this whole big name issue every single time on ESPN like it is now. So I think it's slowly, eventually, it's just not going to be a big deal anymore.
All right, guys, before we wrap up the segment, I'm going to get you out in a final question, mixing it up. Will Michael Sam be drafted Michael Gardner?
Yes.
Jaron Berman?
He has to be.
No, he could not
What
go
an answer.
undrafted.
He can go
What
undrafted.
do you mean he has to be drafted?
He's Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC.
Yeah, but he was considered to be a middle round pick. I'm just asking.
7 rounds.
I gotta ask these questions.
Look at drafted.
Thank you, Jaron Berman.
I say yes because it'll be saved by like a competent organization like the Ravens or Packers.
Yeah, not the Packers.
He's going to get drafted. I do think he's going to slip, though.
Uh-huh.
I think, obviously, 3-4 with the questions about him being defensive end / outside linebacker are going to put a little bit into question, but I wouldn't be surprised if he slips down to 5.
Yeah, I think that possibly, you got the combine coming out. I think how he tests out there. I think it's going to be interesting because let's say he has a poor combine and he slips in the draft, his stock strips. Now it's going to appear, is he slipping because he's gay or is he slipping because of a poor combine or all that. So it's going to be a very interesting story. We will stay on top of it. Just for the folks at home that are watching us right now, we got some more SportsZone on the way, so stay plugged in.
Hello, fans, soccer fans, that is, not football. I mean, it's the real football. Adrian Cruz on win, Mike Gardner in tweed because the fans voted on AUATV.com to decide what outfit I was going to wear for the soccer segment. And we have some big news in soccer as we see into our crystal ball as Alan Wynn will talk about the Champions League. Round of 16 has started. No more FA Cup talk nonsense. Enough of the Liverpools and the Arsenals and the Wimbledons and the Swindon upon Avon's team. You guys, we were talking about some big games coming up in the round of 16, the knockout stages.
Yep.
Both of you guys. We'll start with you, Alan. The key matchups to look out for.
The key matchup, I think the big match on Tuesday, it's Man City, Barcelona. It's away. It's at the Etihad, first leg, and Barcelona finding their form again, scoring a cheeky 6 goals against their crosstown rivals Rayo Vallecano, and what is it? Man City. I guess they beat Chelsea. Whatever. It's the FA Cup. I don't care. Don't ask me about it. I'm bitter.
I wasn't going to.
I know you weren't, but it's just, mental calculation. But Man City missing a lot of very key players. They're missing Fernandinho, missing Sergio Aguero, Samir Nasri getting back to fitness, that team getting back to fitness, finding their form in the Champions League. We will see how they do against Barcelona. The 2 big games that they had previously in the season, Bayern Munich and Chelsea in the league at home, they really couldn't put much together. They looked really poor, but they're finding their form. The quadruple four trophies is still alive for that team, so we'll see how they play on Tuesday.
And Adrian, big matchups to look out for.
For me personally, the big matchup is I think Galatasaray versus Chelsea. Like as we saw last year when Galatasaray managed to beat Real Madrid, you can't overlook the Turkish champions, and they do have some top players with Wesley Sneijder, Didier Drogba, Burak Yilmaz, and so on and so forth. And of course, the big thing with that one is Drogba's return to Stamford Bridge after he led them to the Champions League victory.
Dun, 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 dun. Will they welcome him back with open arms
Absolutely.
or a shower of boos like we love from the European fans?
I think Jose will give him a hug and he will cry. Almost certainly. It'll be a really big game for him. He tweeted out, he was like, I'm the luckiest man in the Champions League because I get to play at home twice. And I think it's true. There will be no boos for Drogba even if he scores against us, which he won't because JT will be back and we'll be marking him. But that's something to look out for. The storylines in the Champions League, which I think that's what sets it apart from any other competition. Any other football competition.
Are the defending champs in the knockout stage, Bayern Munich, do they have a chance to repeat?
They definitely have a chance to repeat. They're coached by Pep Guardiola, great coach, and I think they're a team that's just they keep on rolling, and he knows how to rotate his players. He knows how to get different looks, play people in different positions that they're not used to, and then get the best out of them. Arsenal right now, they just beat Liverpool today in the FA Cup 2-1. But they're missing a lot of key players. They're having to play a winger in center midfield, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. They're a little bit slack in goal scoring with Olivier Giroud because he's been playing 90 minutes. I know the commentators talked about those Mesut Ozil's reaching the red zone physically where they're really close to injury because they've been playing so much soccer. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think Bayern Munich really will beat Arsenal very, very simply.
Adrian, is it the fact that they've kept such a solid core of players? Get my boy Philip Lahm in the mix, Ian Robin, who it looks like a 50-year-old man, but I think he's in his mid-30s.
Of course. I mean, if you look at Bayern Munich, they have good players at just about every position, from the defense up to the offense. Even though they don't have Frank Ribery, the rest of and Bastian Schweinsteiger, I feel like the rest of their core is more than enough to beat Arsenal, especially seeing as they have striker issues. They don't have Theo Walcott back, and Giroud honestly just is not that great a striker. And like you said, also the issues with Ozil, all of that is going to lead to a Bayern victory, and I think it's going to be a big one too.
And is Real Madrid still alive?
Real Madrid is still alive. They're playing a different system under Carlo Ancelotti. Cristiano scoring goals still.
Mr. Ballon d'Or.
But I think the big part of that team is that it's not Ronaldo so much as this kid from the Madrid youth, Jesse, he's come to the fore, scored some incredible goals for that team recently. So. I think they'll be fine. They'll be rolling on against Olympiacos.
Adrian, final question of the day. We go stateside for this one. Julio Cesar to the MLS. Is Toronto FC the team to beat?
I think so. I mean, they made a lot of good acquisitions this offseason. They managed to acquire Michael Bradley, Jermaine Defoe. Now they got Julio Cesar, who's been a great contributor for many years. I have a feeling Toronto's definitely making a big step forward after starting off, very weakly their first couple seasons in the MLS.
Great stuff as always. We will side volley it out of it. Actually, no, we'll play defense. We clear it out.
Clear it.
For a throw-in.
Cleared header,
we'll send it
diving
back
header.
To the main panel. SportsZone.
Hey, welcome back. Fortunately, I hope you don't have pink eye like your good friend Bob Costas.
Hey,
a little
It's
Olympic
getting better,
segment. We got our. He is getting better tonight. We tape on Sunday nights. Monday night he'll be back. We've suffered through Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira in the meantime, but that's neither here nor there. We got our good friend Deepak Bhagat alongside. He's a big Olympics guy. We're gonna talk a little Sochi 2014 games right now.
Boom.
We're gonna give you guys what we like thus far. We got another week to go. So Deepak, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh boy.
What has been your favorite moment of the Olympics thus far, of anything?
You know what? I got to go with Yevgeny Plushenko. I know he's not American, and I should wholeheartedly be going for American. But
Probably.
But Plushenko, 31 years old, final Olympics. He's gotten gold already twice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's just really having the Olympics of his career. It's unfortunate that he had to sit out this past freestyle dancing, I believe it was. because during the practice he slipped and really hurt his back, which, I mean, that's going to really give him a lot of criticism, but he'll be back.
You know what's interesting about that, as a butt in, but well, I host the show. When you're talking about him pulling out of the Olympics, he, they tape delay that stuff, and they were promoting him for prime time because U.S. didn't have a lot of stars going that night. The problem was they kept on promoting him in prime time after he had pulled out, and after they knew that he had pulled out of that event.
Yep.
So NBC, keep doing what you're doing. Sly Fox. Another sly guy, my good friend Mike Gardner, which has been your highlight, the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympic Games.
The SSX Tricky course is my first one. The fact that we can just basically bring the X Games into the most coveted athletic event to modern man.
West Side.
And all it takes is from 98 onwards. Sooner or later, snowmobiles will be the next equestrian.
We'll be doing snowmobile flips and people will be getting killed at the Winter Olympics.
Well, that course alone, that like free ski style slope or whatever it's called, there's been multiple wrecks. Both men's and women's
it's
side.
like a Talladega race.
Hey. My surprise, though, is how the hyped-up USA athletes have performed very poorly. For the fact that NBC originally started their Olympic coverage, they originally had Evan Lysacek, who is not competing in this Olympics.
No, he's not.
Lindsey Vonn, who is hurt. Shawnee Davis, who I don't think has medaled.
No.
Shaun White.
Shaun White, who did not medal and dropped out of an event. And also the fact that I love laughing every day seeing that the weather is not what Russia had according to plan. Sometimes the alpine skiing, it's 50 degrees or 40
like
degrees.
It was 60 the other day.
Exactly.
Well, it was like
You wear,
40 in Florida.
T-shirt and shorts. It's the Winter Olympics, and like the ice is starting to melt, and it's dangerous. And every course there has like hazards written all over it. We've seen pictures on Twitter, and
what's great is that we saw weather problems in the last Winter Olympics in Vancouver. There were a lot of times they couldn't get snow. It would be very balmy. So good stuff.
Global warming for you.
It's real.
Turn off your lights when you go to
Mother
bed.
Nature is.
And the fact that Costas has pink eye. And we got the
What
Today.
was he
basically,
drinking on?
basically, we got the Today Show carrying the Olympics on their
It's
backs.
like down in some vodka.
It's he took a shot with Mary Carell. that was cool.
He's
That
Bob
was
Costas.
great.
He can do whatever he wants.
He can.
You know, the
He's
man
a
talks to
ludicrous
the,
thing.
That
Talks
was
to the
last we
president.
saw of him. All right, before the segment descends into further madness. Under that bad. We are.
It's
better than
stop.
Jaron Berman.
Dylan Cho, what's been your highlight of these Winter Olympic Games?
Highlight. We're gonna go with what I've seen as one of the most interesting events, and received actually both good things and bad things about it. But that would be the 15-year-old ice skater from Russia, Yulia Lipnetskaya. Amazing, amazing performance there with what she did. I mean, I'm assuming you guys watched it. There was a lot of hype going into it. And whenever you have a young athlete like that, competing in a sport at the Olympics, it's just amazing. You don't know how they're going to perform. I know it's been things in the past with the Chinese, like young gymnasts and stuff like that. You're not sure how they're going to be performing, but she absolutely killed it out there. Like I said, there was some criticism of using like certain songs and stuff like that. I don't see that big of an issue with it. Obviously, some people did, but I mean, watching her perform and everything that she did right there was absolutely amazing, and I think completely dominated that. I mean, that was one of the first ones that I'd seen that was pretty early on in the Olympics, and she carried that through for almost all the events that she was in. And I mean, it was honestly just breathtaking to watch a 15-year-old be doing this. And you just have to think, how many more years do you think she'll be able to do this?
Yeah.
If she's 15 now, give it every 4 years. I mean, obviously when they're starting this young, sometimes they get injured or they can't last as long, but hopefully she has a few more years in her being able to do this.
You know, I wonder, talk about highlights, and how the hell did nobody talk about Saturday morning, the U.S.
There we
beating
go.
Russia on Russian soil. And
TJ Oshie.
Shootout, it was TJ Oshie.
We were letting you
The
talk
man
about
no
it.
one knew about him.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
talked about this
beforehand.
before. We were gonna let you do it.
Another great highlight. There was a
Beef
Swedish, I think, freestyle skier And when I think he medaled, and you know when NBC does that one camera shot where he's sitting by that podium and whatnot,
Yeah.
flashed the Wu-Tang sign, said Wu-Tang is for the children, and it's dreadlocks too. I mean that's crazy. That shows that the Winter Olympics have just tanked. They need to race the short track skating outside like they did back in the 70s.
They do need to bring that.
Bring back Lake Placid and go to Lillehammer.
All right, and on that note, but we're gonna shift gears and go to what we have liked the least of the Winter Olympic Games.
Oh, boy.
We'll start off with Dylan Schode. What has been the biggest? What has been awful about this Olympics, or the biggest disappointment?
Okay, we're gonna go with the biggest disappointment, and Mike touched upon this already, but I would say that this would just be the records of some of the big name U.S. athletes. I mean, when you go into it, you think of Shaun White. He's trying for his 3rd straight Olympic medal. You think of Shawnee Davis, right? Shawnee Davis. Okay, that's what I thought. Like, big name athletes like this are the ones that really aren't stepping up. But then we do have the other athletes that are kind of making up for it, keeping us in 3rd right now with the medal count. But that's just not what you were expecting when the U.S. is trying to frame these Olympics to people. They're going to play on those big names, and those big names haven't really come out. And besides that, they've also been kind of shrouded in a little bit of controversy. You have to think of Shaun White dropping out because of a supposed injury, whereas other people say that he dropped out just because he knew he wasn't going to win. Or the speed skating suits for the Olympics apparently are slowing down the skaters. So there's stuff like this that's just happening. And I would definitely say that's been the biggest disappointment so far.
Deepak, quickly, what's been that?
Definitely playing off of that. You got everyone was looking forward to Shaun White, medaling 4th consecutive, I believe, or 3rd consecutive. It would have been huge, never done before. So.
Mike.
Something I'm looking forward to, as I pretty much named all the criticisms.
Yeah.
That's what
Lolo
that's what
Jones and the Night Train, the
Yes!
bobsledding is coming up this week.
Dine Machine. Guys, good stuff as always. Keep tuned for the Olympics. Next time we'll have a little bit of an Olympics wrap-up show.
And the skeleton.
Hopefully. Actually, I won't be here next week, so who the hell knows?
Same time in 2 weeks.
We don't know what's going on.
So
Every 2 weeks we'll do an episode.
Stay tuned for some more Sports
leap
Zone
year.
coming up after these messages.
Hey, and welcome back to Sports Zone. This is one of our favorite segments that we have here, Getting to Third Base. I am Dylan Cho. You remember me guys hosting this. Of course you do. Best host here for baseball. Here with 2 of our new guys. Deepak's not that new, but we got new Adrian on with us. First episode. So we're going to be starting out. Baseball season is heating up. Spring training just started, guys. I know we're all getting excited, but we're going to go to some of the biggest off-season news that we've had so far this year. And we're going to start out with Tanaka, the pitcher coming from Japan. Deepak, what do you see? What do you think about this signing? He gets 7 years, $155 million, hasn't thrown one pitch in the majors yet. Of course, he has the Japanese track record. What do you think is going to end up happening with this? Too much money to pay?
Too much for right now.
Okay.
I see him as a legitimate 2-3 kind of starter because here's my thing. I understand he had a great track record in Japan. However, it's Japan. Like, they're proven not to be as great as players in the majors. You have players from the majors who go play in Japan. They go because their career, they want to at least live a little bit longer. So far they're pretty much floundering.
Yeah.
But I really do see that with a pitcher like Tanaka, you gotta think of like a Darvish. Darvish, great record in Japan. I mean, he's doing fine here. However, it's not like the 1.20 ERA that they're so used to seeing.
Yeah.
It's more around the 3.3, 3.4. Yeah. So he'll do well enough, I think. Give him a solid 3 starter.
Okay, that works. Adrian, so when you think of big Japanese pitchers, last names that we have are Daisuke Matsuzaka and Yu Darvish. Where do you think Tanaka lines up within these 2 starters?
I honestly think Tanaka stands a little bit in the middle because he definitely has a much better track record than Matsuzaka. His pitches are better. He's got better overall stuff. But I also don't see him as a Darvish type because he's not the same type of pitcher. Darvish has the ability to blow you away. Tanaka doesn't have that. Tanaka, he's more of a pitch-to-contact pitcher, and I feel like in the beginning of his Yankees career, that might mess with him a little bit. While I also think he's going to have a great career, he's going to do very well for the Yankees, I have a feeling he's going to go through some growing pains because it's a new culture you have to adjust to, and it's New York. It's never easy playing there. We've seen that with many players better than him that have burnt out.
Okay. What do you quickly just for this question? 24-0. What do you take from that? Good, bad, overrated, doesn't mean much.
Doesn't mean much.
Okay. Adrian?
Nothing.
Doesn't mean much. Okay. I'd also have to agree with that. I think he's going to be a great pitcher in New York, but we'll see what happens. There's definitely going to be some sort of issues. I mean, even when Darvish first came over, he struggled a little bit, and I think Tanaka's going to fall that same way. Next big headline we're going to be going to is the Atlanta Braves. Always there each year, always in the playoff conversation, signing some big-name guys. And when I say big-name guys, I mean, you got to think of the guys that they signed this year. Hayward, Freeman, and now recently Craig Kimbrell. Big contracts, big amount of money. Where are they getting this money, Deepak? What are they? How are they all of a sudden reeling out this gigantic amount of money for their players?
I don't know. I'm scared. There's stuff going down in Hotlanta that, as a Phillies fan, I'm terrified because they're gonna have a new stadium in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously gonna be like $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at. You already brought in a guy named B.J. Upton, first off, who they signed to a really big contract, which he's not worth a single penny of. Justin Upton, who they acquired in a trade, who will get that big contract sooner or later. And now they're locking up their younger guys, which is very smart. I mean, Freddie Freeman, consistent. Craig Kimbrell, consistent. And Jason Hayward has some injury problems, but, got pop, got speed, got fielding. The money, I mean, who knows? Ted Turner's maybe starting to unload his pockets, maybe knows something's up that we don't know.
Yeah, he might be. Adrian, how do you see this team playing out this year? I mean, a lot of these players that they're signing are the same team as last year. Do you think that's going to improve their chances, or maybe they're going to end up the same place?
Honestly, I see this Braves team as really hit or miss because there's a lot of problems with the lineup. Dan Uggla, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. B.J. Upton, I think, also is a lost cause. And Jason Hayward's had a lot of injury problems. So it's really hit or miss, depending on can these players go back to their norms or will they regress from the earlier years?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely see how that's going to happen. And you have to think some of their players, Upton hit or miss sometimes. B.J. Upton hit or miss. Dan Uggla hit or miss. Evan Gattis had a good streak last year, but again was off a little bit. And even with Justin Upton, started out really strong, but kind of regressed a little bit during the season. So we'll see how that plays out in the NL East this year with Nats, Phillies probably being up at the top.
Well, Phillies being bottom.
Mets, I don't know where they'll fall
Phillies
in.
with the Marlins.
We'll see what's going to happen. But this is just the start of the hot stove's over. This is just the start of spring training. We still got 50 days until the season starts. Pitchers and catchers are reporting now, but you guys better stay tuned to SportsZone so you can get all your up-to-date MLB coverage right here, right now. Stay locked, guys.
What's cracking out there, ballers? This is time for a little throwing it up segment. NBA Ballers, one of the great video games.
Oh,
of
NBA
all
Ballers.
time. I am your host, Ben Florence, because there's nothing else for me to do on this show besides host the segments.
Ruh-roh.
We got our power panel of degeneracy.
Voted number 3 in the ESPN Power Index.
Pretty much. In the Heat Index as well.
Ooh,
We got Jaron Berman
kill him.
from
Nice
Suffolk
line.
County,
Ooh.
and we got
Terrio.
Mr. Mark Cuban,
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, Josh Howard.
Ooh,
Michael Gardner.
Throwback Thursday.
With us, we're throwing out names left and right. So today is Sunday. The All-Star Game is going on, actually right now.
Wow.
But we're going to talk a little bit about All-Star Saturday. Move to a different theme, move to a conference format, to where guys are going for charity. It was highlighted or lowlighted by a dunk contest that I said from the get-go was going to be a fiasco. I said you can go to a little website I like to call bflow360.
Oh, that's not advertising or anything.
Plug.
Plug.
We're going to
Send in the
action,
plugs.
but you go to my blog. I said this was going to be terrible. You had a great field. The first time since like '88. You have 3 All-Stars in a dunk contest. They moved to this conference format, and Jaron, by God, it was awful. Not even the freestyle round, which I thought could have been cool. That was a flop. So what's your take?
It looked awful from the get-go. I remember I said to you earlier, Deadspin put out an article last week saying how great it was going to be and how different it was. And I just read it and I was like, no, it's terrible. There's no one going on one at the end.
Exactly.
It's basically just, okay, we put 2 groups of 3 and that's it. Then fans vote on who they want.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not a competition. That's
And
3-on-3.
And the dunk of the night came at the end, and then that was it.
Yeah, that was it. It was just
Nothing
like fans
else.
voted. And just I remember I was reading about it.
The champions of the were the East team of
Terrence Ross,
John
John
Wall,
Wall, and Paul George. Yeah.
Those your champions.
And no, and I remember apparently like even the TNT broadcasters were even saying apparently someone had heard like Kenny Smith saying, "Isn't there another dunk after?" So even the broadcasters didn't know the rules. So sloppy start for Mr. Adam Silver on his first All-Star game. That's an F right there.
Of course, the best part of the dunk contest probably was, there were two pretty solid dunks. You had Ben McLemore jumping over Shaq in a
Sacramento.
king chair,
Sacramento should.
with the highlight being Charles Barkley saying what everyone was hoping, like, I hope he kicks him in the head.
Well.
He goes up. And then you had the best dunk of the night, which actually was a great dunk. John Wall taking the ball from the mascot.
Gee whiz!
Yes.
From
Shout out to the Wizards.
and thus, but Mike, the dunk contest, it was atrocious. We've been saying for years the dunk contest was awful. You needed big names. They get big names, and it was still awful. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it takes away from the whole individual because what's gonna say on the trophy? Just East Conference?
Yeah,
Or like,
that's the
or
thing.
like
They were
three
holding it at
names
the
in
end
that
of the
really,
freestyle round. They're holding up East.
or that three,
Yeah.
or three names in that really tiny font that no one can read.
Yeah.
Listen, Drake was the MVP of that though, right?
Drake sucks.
Drake was the MVP of the dunk contest.
Yeah,
he threw a ball off.
It's like when Kevin Hart won the MVP for the celebrity game,
Did
in
he,
which
did he
in
win
which
it
he
again
promised. I
Friday?
think he promised like 36 points, 20 some rebounds, 17 assists. He ended the stat line of I think 7 points, no rebounds, and no assists. And then he ultimately had to give. He's like, I don't deserve this. Arnie Duncan, who had like a 20 and 10 game.
And we've been saying it for like 2 years. He deserved it 2 years ago when Kevin Hart got thrown out of the game.
Yeah, but he won it. Arnie Duncan was MVP, which is great.
Good for him.
All is good in the celebrity world.
All right.
Although
so
Romeo took it way too seriously.
I
He was
didn't
like
watch the game. Romeo
but the
was
best
in it.
what
was
about Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg.
The surprise
Snoop
guest.
Dogg, yeah, exactly. He's got good handles for as lanky and goofy as he is. Got to the rack a couple of times. Had great get up. Looked exactly like Kenneth Freed minus 100 pounds.
Yep.
But yeah, All-Star Saturdays, it's a joke.
Guys, quickly.
Mhm.
NBA MVP. Jeremy Birmingham.
The Tarantula. The
I was gonna
Slim
say the
Reaper. The
Tarantula.
Slim Reaper.
Say the same
John Wall.
Okay.
I'm
Good
just
night.
kidding. Kevin
Good
Durant.
night, everyone.
thing. Okay.
Say
And
goodnight.
CP, the Cliff Paul.
Clip Paul.
the Argyle.
In the Argyle.
Insurance MVP.
America loves
Most va-
Argyle. They're flicking the lights.
Most valuable
that
insurer.
means that they only want some more Sports Zone.
Lights
Wink,
out.
Wink.
Shut
up. Stay
Ooh,
tuned for
kill.
some Sports
Ooh,
Zone
kill.
right
Ooh,
after
kill.
these messages.
Oh, Ontario.
All right, we are back on Sports Zone. We got our AO Athletics. We got a leaner and more efficient panel
Yes.
right here. This guy.
American.
Yeah, we're
AU
going to talk a
Athletics,
little
rightfully-
AU Athletics, a
rightfully
little
so.
AU hoop talk.
Be sure
Fortunately, we
to-
don't have Mike Brennan, Dan Lang.
Yeah, that's usually it because they're starving for gas.
Billy Walker.
Pete Carroll.
The legendary Pete
Brian
Carroll.
Gilmore.
Ryan Gilmore.
Like all the ex-players from like the 90s that still work in the area.
Anyway,
Continue.
yeah, thank you. So AU men's basketball, everyone was so excited. Just a couple weeks ago, we were undefeated in conference. Now we go to Loyola, lose at Loyola. So not a good loss.
Still have a one-game lead
you have
over Boston.
you have one game lead over Boston. Loyola's not a terrible team. Come back the following Wednesday. This was not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before. We lose to Colgate.
Colgate, yeah.
Colgate
At
sucks.
home.
At home.
That was
so
a rough loss.
terrible loss.
Very, very
Now we're
bad
tied
loss.
with Boston.
And then the next week, we're tied with Boston now. And then this past Wednesday at home, Lehigh comes to town. Big game. Lehigh's very solid team. We love Dr. Brett Reed. But
Couple of
wins.
scouts in the house to see Mackie McKnight.
That's were there really?
Couple Wizard scouts. Yep.
Wow, I did not know that.
Big win. So we're out keeping up the pace.
Yeah, so big win, get back on track, and then we go up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Easton.
That's right, Easton, Pennsylvania, pardon me. And play Lafayette Leopards, and we lose by 12. So now we've lost 3 out of 4. We've lost control of the Patriot League. Our next game, Michael Gardner, is going up to Boston University, a a team that came here, lost to what we smoked them by 30 points. Now we're going up there. So what's to make of that game and possibly going forward? Are the Eagles in bad trouble, or in a lot of trouble, I should say, or are they? Is this kind of a little smoke on the water, but they can go right through it?
The next 2 games is ride or die for the Eagles, Mike
True.
Brennan. They have, as you mentioned, lost 3 of 4.
Mm-hmm.
No team wants that.
No,
Defensively, we're playing pretty bad. I think we've given up an average of like 65 and higher,
that's awful.
which is awful considering we were one of the best defenses in the country at one point in terms of points against or points allowed. Go up to Boston, who roll against Loyola on Saturday. So they now have a revenge game against us, a team that is already down. Kick us while we're down.
Yep.
The only plus side is this is the game we could turn it around. This is must win and chances of us hosting. Because if we do beat Boston and win out,
Yes.
we hold the tiebreaker.
That's right.
If we lose, though, we're officially out of home court advantage. And then we have to go to Army.
Yep.
Or we play Army at home.
Hosting Army.
And they're no easy team by any
You're
stretch
right.
of the imagination. So there has to be we need some motivational pep talk from a David Aldridge or someone to talk to Brennan and the crew. 'Cause he seems a little dejected.
Yeah.
As, it's tough for our first-year head coach. This is sort of the first sort of blip on the radar of, is it time to panic?
Yeah, and sometimes, you do see teams that get into a rut, especially, a younger team like this, not as much experience, only one senior.
Not the worst possible time, too, considering there's only
exactly.
4 games
And
left.
the thing is, it wasn't like we were winning and losing. Like, we were winning and winning pretty convincingly to this point before this 3 or 4 loss stretch. So, Dylan, you talked about this is basically a must-win game at Boston.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances we go there and pull the upset and just completely make no sense of the situation at all by going to Boston and potentially winning? Can that happen?
I think it can happen. But like you mentioned, that last game when we beat them at home by 30 points, which,
Yeah.
I mean, watching that game, like, it was kind of close early on. Like, BU came out really strong in that game, and then we just kind of kept piling on the points. There is no chance we win by 30. There is absolutely no chance we win by 30. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 3-pointer or less. That's what's going to be deciding this game. BU, very big school, a very talented team. Obviously, if how tough they played us at least to start that last game.
Yeah.
But we're going there, big school, big fan section. We'll see what happens there. I do think we can pull out the win, though. I think that the way our defense worked, we really shut them down for the second half, and we just kind of kept scoring points. And like Mike mentioned, our defense has kind of held us in these games. I think recently, the past few games, the team has just looked kind of tired and sluggish. Especially the game against Colgate. We only ended up losing by 3, and we almost made that final shot at the end. But we looked very slow for most of that game, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the starters especially are just kind of have been overplayed.
The defense
haven't
has to be
played.
key because I think a lot of teams in the Patriot League are starting to figure out this offense, and defense wins championships.
Right.
As we saw from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, that's right. So now we've successfully tied in the Super Bowl to the Patriot League because, hey, that's what we
We're
do
heroes.
here at SportsZone. West Side and all that jazz. So we got some more SportsZone still upcoming. So please stay with us.
And welcome back to Sports Zone, everyone. I know Ben says it at the end with the thumble, but this one is your guys' real favorite segment. This is what we got shin to chin. Me and my buddy Brian Shin here. We're going to be talking some MMA action, and you guys are in luck. There was a fight last night on Saturday that we watched. There was some pretty good fights. It was a free fight on Fox Sports 1 if you happen to have that. But we're going to start out with Francis Carmont versus Jacare Souza. Pretty big fight. What happened in this fight, Brian?
This fight was Francis Carmont wasn't aggressive enough, I felt like. He made a lot of angry faces and stomped his feet a lot, but never really pushed the action enough. Jacare Souza fought this fight very well against a guy who was a kickboxer. He landed big punches, big right hands, and got the takedowns, controlled him a lot. Yeah, he did exactly what he needed to do, dominating performance.
He definitely did dominate that entire fight. Kermont really didn't have a chance. He looked at points that he was trying to kind of lead the action, but he really wasn't throwing any punches, wasn't really throwing any kicks in there, was just kind of marching around the octagon and trying to just look scary and aggressive. But really, you could tell when he was getting taken down, he just wasn't sure what he was going to be doing. Next big fight after that one, we had the main event fight, and this was Lyoto Machida versus Gegard Mousasi. And I know before this, we weren't really sure who was going to win. Machida's been looking pretty good so far, but Mousasi is dangerous. And you actually thought Gegard Mousasi was going to win this fight.
Yeah, it seems like my predictions are always a little off, but what can I say? I think it's the Nam fan curse. But Mousasi actually is a very decorated fighter. He's a great fighter all around. At middleweight, I thought he'd look great. He came in with ring rust. He came off a surgery and a really long layoff. He didn't use it as an excuse, but I honestly think that had a part to how he performed in the fight. And he just looked a little sluggish. He never got a good rhythm. I expect him to do well further in his nenext fights in middleweight, to be honest. But Machida looked lightning fast. I've never seen a middleweight move that quickly, other than maybe even Vitor. But Machida looked amazing. So I feel like he may fight the winner, or he may fight Jacare Souza for title contention for the winner of Chris Weidman versus Vitor. So that could happen. Or Machida would just get the title shot. We'll see how all the time frame works on that. But if Machida were to fight either Chris Weidman or Vitor, I think he has a very good chance. But I still think I favor the champ in all the matchups.
You think Weidman against all those matchups is still going to win?
Yeah, I think he's a very smart and intelligent fighter.
He's also very well-rounded compared to the
yeah.
other fighters. Vitor, when you think of Vitor, he's really fast, power, has the skill there. Machida's more of a sit-back, wait, use his left hand. But Weidman, I mean, we saw it in the two Anderson Silva fights. He can take him down, he can break legs, and he can punch.
I mean, he beat the greatest of all time twice.
Twice.
No flukes. Don't hear any of that nonsense. He beat him twice.
Yeah.
He's serious business.
Yeah, he is definitely a really good fighter. Going from that good fighter, we're going to be going to another champion, but this time it's going to be one of the UFC's biggest draws that they have right now, and this is Ronda Rousey. And she's fighting undefeated Sarah McMahon.
Yep.
Really big hype for this fight because you have Ronda Rousey, who's a bronze medalist for judo, and you have Sarah McMahon, who's a silver medalist for wrestling. How do you see this fight coming out? This is next Saturday, February 22nd, when this fight is happening. How do you see this fight ending up, Brian?
If Rousey is smart, she will outbox Sarah McMahon. I definitely think that Ronda's got the advantage in boxing. People underrate her striking a lot. That being said, I think Ronda is the competitive type of person to take her down and submit her. She wants to prove a point.
True.
And she's going to prove that her submission skills and her judo skills is going to be too much. That's what I think.
You think so? Yeah. Okay. So how much of this fight do you think is actually going to be standing? You have a judo specialist who we saw in her last fight against Miesha Tate, threw Miesha Tate around. Like nothing Miesha Tate could throw. And then you have Sarah McMahon, who's a wrestler, who's also going to be trying to take Ronda down. How do you think that's going to end up?
A lot of times when you got two very good wrestlers or guys with good wrestling bases, they don't want to take each other down because they don't want to make a mistake. So this fight could potentially be a stand-up war because neither of them want to take that risk, or they're both going to have a hard time taking each other down. Or if one person does get a takedown, it's going to be ground game for the whole time through. So
okay.
We can see that.
So we're going to see how that ends up. Maybe it'll end up in another armbar for Ronda Rousey. We'll never know until next week, next Saturday, February 22nd. Watch that fight. We're going to be talking about it here next Sunday. You know it. You guys better stay tuned and watch more Shin to Chin action.
Welcome back to SportsZone. That's what they call this program, right?
Yeah.
Do we say it?
Usually.
Generally.
I don't know.
Sometimes.
So this is our favorite segment of the show. In our final segment of the show, we got our good buddy Alan Wynn alongside.
For the win.
How about that? And we're gonna get.
Looking very suave today, I might
Very
add,
suave.
guys.
How about
Thank you.
that? And you look like a moron.
Hey, Go to au.atv.com.
No, AUATV.
AUATV.com to vote on what outfit I should wear next week. We have a tweed jacket, we got the Batman costume, the Santa outfit.
Birthday suit.
Possibilities are endless.
And you know what's also endless? The potential for thumbs and thumbs
Thumb
down.
ball!
Sorry, that was a terrible segue. Dylan, take it away.
All right, hopefully I can save this segment before it gets any worse than it already has.
Yeah, Jared.
Thumbs up. We're going to go
God.
thumbs up to baseball season starting up. I mean, you guys all know, you've seen the segments, you've watched SportsZone in the past. We got under 50 days till the season starts. Pitchers and catchers have all reported. Players are going to be starting to report. This is when everything's starting to heat up. World Series predictions will be coming out. Fantasy baseball starting up. It's going to be great. America's pastime already getting so soon. It seems like it just ended too, which I mean I'm not going to complain about.
Hey,
What I am going to complain about is going to be my thumbs down right here.
fantastic.
See that segue right there?
Yeah.
Thumbs down. I'm going to go thumbs down to all the media coverage that has been surrounding Sochi. And what I mean by the media coverage, I mean the poor media coverage about the stray dogs or the water or the housing or everything like that. As most of you know, who are very devoted followers of the show, I was studying abroad in St. Petersburg, Russia last semester.
I thought it was
St.
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Nah, a little bit different. Sorry, Ben.
Great city, by the way.
Obviously, St. Petersburg, Russia, and Sochi,
Grand Prix.
very different cities. Couldn't drink the water. Stray dogs and cats are everywhere. Buildings aren't the best because that's their infrastructure. The amount of press coverage this has gotten from American reporters is absolutely disgusting on American reporters in general.
Is it disgusting like the water?
It depends how you want to do it.
You
No,
can't
the
go to
water's
Central
just
America
like-
and drink the
it'd be like a
water.
third
out.
eye.
Exactly. So the fact that they're expecting, I do understand it's the Olympics, and then they're expecting brand new everything, brand new
All black everything?
everything.
All gold, everything.
Obviously, it wasn't up to their standards, but it really depends on what these American standards are. And I'm thinking for a country like Russia, in the area that they were putting it in, they can't be expecting 5-star luxury hotels, all this sort of stuff. I will admit some of the stuff wasn't the best. The lobbies weren't put together, but complaining about the surrounding areas, the stray dogs, the water, all like that, go live in Russia for 4 months, and you'll be able to see
Yeah.
what they're going to be living in, and that's what they have to do all the time.
Yeah.
So all that press coverage about it, you guys are just completely blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
America. Alan, what do you got?
Thumbs up if you watched the early segment, which you should have on soccer. Thumbs up. Champions League is returning this week. I'm sick and tired of this FA Cup nonsense. Yes, Chelsea were knocked out. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
whatever. That's fine. I'm sick and tired of watching Liverpool play one game a week because that's all they can do. That's all they're capable of doing.
FA Cup
So-
stands for the Forget About It Cup.
The Forget About It Cup. That's what it stands for. Really.
Dang.
Not the Football Association. But thumbs up to quality soccer back on display for American viewers this week and next week. Round of 16 knockout stages is commencing. Thumbs down to snow because I'm from New Orleans and the snow is really unchill because I can't walk out of my apartment without slipping at least once. Thumbs down to the fact that I couldn't hold club soccer practice on Saturday because
Oh, come on.
Jacobs was like frozen over. It was
Who
too wet.
cares?
All the guys.
They played a World Cup qualifier and
Yeah, but I mean,
Wasn't
if
very
you've
good.
ever played on Jacobs, you'll know that you will die if it's even
Hey.
like a little bit wet.
I've already
You
died
just-
before.
yeah.
So
I'm ready to
thumbs
do it
thumbs
again.
down to Jacobs Field in general, and not giving and
The green
and also
concrete.
yeah, it is green
That's pretty much
concrete.
what it is.
Thumbs down to the sports department for not giving us actual green space to play on for club soccer. I'm just gonna keep complaining about club soccer
Please
things
do.
because they're like in the forefront of my mind.
Preach, brother.
Thumbs down for us. Yeah, basically not being able to practice on Mass Ave Field more than 3 times the
Come on,
whole
that's-
semester.
That is a great field.
It is a better field.
Shamari, we're looking right at you.
I'm gonna
love
get real
Shamari.
grief
Come
for
on,
this.
Fanatic.
But those are my thumbs.
It's not an invite. You're not.
Those are my thumbs.
That's
That's
Cold from the
all
hot.
right. Good stuff. What's your name again? John
I know
Gardner.
who you are. All right,
Why
a
did
quick thumbs down. We'll start thumbs down today to the All-Star Saturday.
Oh, here we
I
go.
am not digging this whole conference thing because What it ultimately does, this is the NBA, by the way.
And we did talk a little bit about it earlier.
Exactly. I'm just beating the dead horse.
Please do.
All it does with
It
the
is
conference,
dead.
it takes away from the individual. So the slam dunk champion, the three-point
It's
champion,
like communism.
who has the best skills, it turns it into this conference. So it's like the East. So John Wall wins the dunk contest, but it's like, oh, the East has the best dunkers.
Yeah, the East won the dunk contest, but he was the best dunker.
Exactly. Which, if you haven't been watching the NBA, Blake Griffin has had some nasty dunks this year. In a game against, that's also it goes thumbs down. Sorry to Deepak for his Philadelphia 76ers. They've been the two games I've
Philadelphia?
seen. They've been pretty woeful. I turned it on against the Clippers. I think they were losing 52 to 15,
Ooh.
and then they were down 100 to 54 the next night. So there has to be some renaissance. They need to hire Mike Brennan. Bottom line. And Billy Walker needs to be the GM.
Yes.
That is the secret elixir that that's like the Diet Coke. That's the elixir.
That's the elixir.
Comes down to snow as well. I'm on the same boat as Alan. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, but they got
and
snow in Dallas.
we don't get snow. We get like slush that's gone
You
in
guys
a
are
day.
soft.
We are soft.
It's a poor man's.
I like the snow though, but yeah,
it's a poor man's San Antonio.
almost died coming over here.
That's not true.
Because it ices. But on the plus side, thumbs up to no school.
Yeah.
It was great.
True.
Got to sleep
Thursday
in,
and
True.
Friday.
and it was
Yeah.
fun. It was
Soldier
good.
Boy.
Thumbs up also to David Terrell, the wrestling team, a 125 weight class, who performed this. He almost performed the flying squirrel in Sunday. I guess we were taping this on Sunday's wrestling match against North Carolina State. Literally hurdled this, almost flipped, like completely flipped over this guy to take him down. As a must-watch, he will be heavily favored going into the NCAA tournament. For AU,
Fantastic.
the
Fantastic.
flying Hawaiian.
Absolutely. Thumbs up. Actually, thumbs down. I've been coughing a little bit of late. I don't know why. I blame the crew.
Get some
Actually,
Halls.
Actually, not the crew. I
Get
blame
some
Jared
get some
Deepak.
Halls cough drops.
Yes.
The official sponsor
Jared
of Mike
Deepak.
Brennan.
Absolutely.
The cause of every problem on SportsZone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to
his
actually our
shoes, though.
crew. We had a great amount of people today. You met our new
Snaps.
addition to the Sports Zone family.
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 Like from Sprint.
Fraternity.
Loose association.
I think
Loose
actually we're more of a
association.
sorority at this point, which I mean, you know.
I mean, with,
Say again?
with,
It is.
Jaren, we
He's
are.
our good friend Adrian Cruz. in
The
the
strong
mix.
arm.
I don't know what he's doing. Please, direct.
That's
her.
the arm. Because
No, I don't
if
care.
If girls
I don't
sta-
care.
If
Just
girls
go,
stand
I-
like
just
this,
go
I
on
don't
with your
care.
thumbs up.
It's
Thumbs
You
fat.
are ruining America.
it makes the arm look fat. So you gotta. John Blunder showed me this.
All right. Thumbs
John
down.
Blundo, great
thumbs
friend of
down
the
to
show.
Whatever the hell that is. Thumbs up.
You hate
to
sororities then.
I do. Well, I'm not a frat guy, but thumbs up to Mike Brennan, and not only Mike Brennan, the AU Wonk No Challenge. They debuted it last year with Jeff Jones, and we all remember how charismatic Jeff Jones was. And
On the
it
screen,
was
not in
pretty
person.
an enjoyable segment. He would come in, blow the whistle, ask questions, completely ridiculous. But then they finally had Mike Brennan do one of these like
In perfect timing with 2 home games left.
Absolutely. So it's like he was like, "Hey, what's up, fans?"
He has a globe. He has a globe.
He's got a globe in his hand. Like, all right, how many countries are represented on this? Completely monotone, but he's got the Jersey accent because he's from the great town of Bayonne. Yeah, we love Bayonne, New
Not
Jersey.
Roslyn.
Yeah, none of the Smithtown, Long Island. We love Smithtown. Trash.
Roslyn,
We do not love
Roslyn
Smithtown.
on the
They're friends
orange
of the
line
show.
and the blue line.
We do love the orange line. So kudos to that. Thumbs up. I'm going to be hitting home this weekend, this upcoming weekend.
Bunting though.
So that's good. I am bunting home. So a little. I'm not going to be home for spring break, but I'm going to be home this weekend. So if you're in the Allendale area, please give me a call.
Will do.
Or send me a letter. Send me a postcard.
I'll send you a PPM.
Okay.
Right to us that I still have a BlackBerry PO box.
Thumbs down
159.
to Jaron Berman, who's rocking camera, for talking. We all know that the only camera guy that's allowed to talk during the show is me. When I famously shouted during the NBA preview segment, "Give the people what they want," to quote our good friend Jalen Rose, another friend of the show. Thumbs up.
He won. He was the winning coach in the celebrity
He
game.
was, and the celebrity game is terrible. Thumbs up to. I'm just.
Arnie Duncan, MVP.
I forgot.
Double double.
One of my thumbs up. thumbs up to Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir have been like the secondary crew for figure skating on NBC SN with our good buddy Terry Gannon. Not a friend of the show, but a personal friend. And they've been awesome. Like, their commentary has been even better than what these guys bring on a daily basis. And we're going to keep bringing you more excellent commentary coming up. Future editions of SportsZone. Will there be an episode next week? Who knows? I won't
Tune
be
in
here.
and find out.
Tune in to find
And
out.
sit here for an hour and see.
For-
Oh, there's nothing.
For everyone here at SportsZone, everyone here at ATV, not the clowns at WVAU. Actually, speaking of WVAU, I want to give a good thumbs up to my good friend Michael Gardner, congratulating him on a 4-year anniversary of the one and only hit radio show. Whatever his radio show was called. It's been on the air for 4 years, not 5, 4. I've been on it for 2.5, and it's
Could be
pretty much
5.
great. But for everyone at SportsZone, NATV, and American University as a whole, thank you very much for watching. We will see you
Eventually.
next time, or eventually. Welcome back to SportsZone. That's what they call this program, right?
Yeah,
Do we save?
usually,
Generally.
I don't know.
sometimes.
So this is our favorite segment of the show. In our final segment of the show, we got our good buddy Alan Wynn alongside.
For the win.
How about that? And we're gonna get.
Looking very suave today, I might
Very
add.
suave.
guys.
How about
Thank you.
that? And you look like a moron.
Hey, go to au.atv.com.
AUATV.
AUATV.com to vote on what outfit I should wear next week. We have a tweed jacket, we got the Batman costume, the Santa outfit.
Birthday suit.
Possibilities are endless.
And you know what's also endless? The potential for thumbs and thumbs
Thumb
down.
ball!
Sorry, that was a terrible segue. Dylan, take it away.
Hey, hopefully I can save this segment before it gets any worse than it already has.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jared.
thumbs up. We're gonna go
God.
thumbs up to baseball season starting up. I mean, you guys all know, you've seen the segments, you've watched SportsZone in the past. We got under 50 days till the season starts. Pitchers and catchers have all reported. Players are going to be starting to report. This is when everything's starting to heat up. World Series predictions will be coming out. Fantasy baseball starting up. It's going to be great. America's pastime already getting so soon. It seems like it just ended too, which I mean, I'm not going to complain about.
Hey,
What I am going to complain about is going to be my thumbs down right here.
fantastic.
See that segue right there?
Yeah.
Thumbs down. I'm going to go thumbs down to all the media coverage that has been surrounding Sochi. And what I mean by the media coverage, I mean the poor media coverage about the stray dogs or the water or the
Love the stray
housing
dogs.
or everything like that. As most of you know, who are very devoted followers of the show, I was studying abroad in St. Petersburg, Russia last semester.
I thought it was
St.
St.
Petersburg.
Florida.
Nah, a little bit different. A little bit different. Sorry, Ben.
Great city, by the way.
Obviously, St. Petersburg, Russia, and Sochi,
Grand Prix.
very different cities. Couldn't drink the water. Stray dogs and cats are everywhere. Buildings aren't the best because that's their infrastructure. The amount of press coverage that this has gotten from American reporters is absolutely disgusting on American reporters in general.
Is it disgusting like the water?
It
you
depends
don't-
how you want to
can't
do
go
it.
You
No,
can't
the
go to
water's
Central
just
America
like-
and drink the
you'll get like
water.
a third
right?
eye.
Exactly. So the fact that they're expecting, I do understand it's the Olympics, and then they're expecting brand new everything, brand new like
All black everything?
everything.
All gold, everything.
Obviously it wasn't up to their standards, but it really depends on what these American standards are. And I'm thinking for a country like Russia, in the area that they were putting it in, they can't be expecting 5-star luxury hotels, all this sort of stuff. I will admit some of the stuff wasn't the best. The lobbies weren't put together, but complaining about the surrounding areas, the stray dogs, the water, all like that, go live in Russia for 4 months and you'll be able to see
Yeah.
what they're going to be living in, and that's what they have to do all the time.
Yeah.
So all that press coverage about it, you guys are just completely blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
America. Alan, what do you got?
Thumbs up if you watched the early segment, which you should have on soccer. Thumbs up. Champions League is returning this week. I'm sick and tired of this FA Cup nonsense. Yes, Chelsea were knocked out. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
whatever. That's fine. I'm sick and tired of watching Liverpool play one game a week because that's all they can do. That's all they're capable of doing.
FA Cup
So-
stands for the Forget About It Cup.
The Forget About It Cup. That's what it stands for. Really.
Dang.
Not the Football Association. But thumbs up to quality soccer back on display for American viewers this week and next week. Round of 16 knockout stages is commencing. Thumbs down to snow because I'm from New Orleans and the snow is really unchill because I can't walk out of my apartment without slipping at least once. Thumbs down to the fact that I couldn't hold club soccer practice on Saturday because
Oh, come on.
Jacobs was like frozen over. It was
Who
too wet.
cares?
All the guys.
They played a World Cup qualifier and
Yeah, but I mean,
Wasn't
if
very
you've
good.
ever played on Jacobs, you'll know that you will die if it's even
Hey.
like a little bit wet.
I've already
You
died
just-
before.
So
Ready to
thumbs
do it
thumbs
again.
down to Jacobs Field in general, and not giving and
The green
and also
concrete.
yeah, it is green
Pretty much
concrete.
what it is.
Thumbs down to the sports department for not giving us actual green space to play on for club soccer. I'm just gonna keep complaining about club soccer
Please
things
do.
because they're like in the forefront of my mind.
Preach, brother.
Thumbs down for us. Yeah, basically not being able to practice on Mass Ave Field more than 3 times a
Come on,
whole
that's-
semester.
That is a great field.
It is a better field.
Shamari, we're looking right at you.
I'm gonna
love
get real
Shamari.
grief
Come
for
on,
this.
Fanatic Radio.
But those are my thumbs.
It's not an invite. You're not.
Those are my thumbs.
That's
That's
Ooh,
soccer.
from the
all
heart.
right. Good stuff. What's your name again? John
I
Gardner.
know who you are. All right, a
Why did you-
quick thumbs down. We'll start thumbs down today to the All-Star Saturday.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not digging this whole conference thing because what it ultimately does. This is the NBA, by the way.
And we did talk a little bit about it earlier.
Exactly. I'm just beating the dead horse.
Please do.
All it does with
It
the
is
conference,
dead.
it takes away from the individual. So the slam dunk champion, the three-point
It's
champion,
like communism.
who has the best skills, it turns into this conference. So it's like the East. So John Wall wins the dunk contest, but it's like, oh, the East has the best dunkers.
Yeah, the East won the dunk contest, but he was the best dunker.
Exactly. Which, if you haven't been watching the NBA, Blake Griffin has had some nasty dunks this year. In a game against, that's also it goes thumbs down. Sorry to Deepak for his Philadelphia 76ers. They've been the 2 games I've
Tankadelphia?
seen. They've been pretty woeful. I turned it on against the Clippers. I think they were losing 52 to 15,
Ooh.
and then they were down 100 to 54 the next night. So there has to be some renaissance. They need to hire Mike Brennan. Bottom line. And Billy Walker needs to be the GM. 'Cause that is
Yes.
the secret elixir that that's like the Diet Coke. That's the elixir.
That's the elixir.
Thumbs
Mike.
down to snow as well. I'm on the same boat as Alan. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, but they got
and
snow in Dallas.
we don't get snow. We get like slush that's gone
You
in
guys
a
are
day.
soft.
We are soft.
It's a poor
I
man's.
like the snow though, but yeah,
it's a poor man's San Antonio.
almost died coming over here.
That's not true.
Because the ice is. But on the plus side, thumbs up to no school.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was great.
True.
Got to see
Thursday and
True.
Friday.
and it was
Yeah.
fun. It was
Soldier
good.
boy.
Thumbs up also to David Terrell, the wrestling team, a 125 weight class, who performed this. He almost performed the flying squirrel in Sunday. I guess we were taping this on Sunday's wrestling match against North Carolina State. Literally hurdled this, almost flipped, like completely flipped over this guy to take him down. As a must-watch, he will be heavily favored going into the NCAA tournament.
Fantastic.
The
Fantastic.
flying Hawaiian.
Absolutely. Thumbs up. Actually, thumbs down. I've been coughing a little bit of late. I don't know why. I blame the crew.
Get some
Actually,
Halls.
Actually, not the crew. I
Get
blame
some
Jaron
get some
Deepak.
Halls cough drops.
Yes.
The official sponsor of
Jaron
Mike
Deepak.
Brennan.
Absolutely.
The cause of every problem on SportsZone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to
like
actually
your
our
shoes, though.
crew. We had a great amount of people today. You met our new
Snaps.
addition to the SportsZone family.
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 Like from Sprint.
Fraternity.
Loose association.
I think
Loose
actually we're more of a
association.
sorority at this point, which I mean, you know.
I mean,
Say again?
with
This.
Jaron, we
He's
are.
our good friend Adrian Cruz. in the
Strong
mix.
arm.
I don't know what he's doing. Please, direct.
That's
her.
the arm. Because
No, I don't
if
care.
If girls
I don't
stand,
care.
If
Just
girls
go
stand
on.
like
Just
this,
go
I
on
don't
with
care.
your thumbs up.
It's
Thumbs
You
fat.
down.
are ruining America.
it makes the arm look fat. So you gotta. John Blundo showed me this.
All right. Thumbs
John
down.
Blundo, great
thumbs
friend of the
down to
show.
Whatever the hell that is. Thumbs
You
up.
hate
to
sororities then.
I do. Well, I'm not a frat guy, but thumbs up to Mike Brennan, and not only Mike Brennan, the AU Wonk No Challenge. They debuted it last year with Jeff Jones, and we all remember how charismatic Jeff Jones was. And
On the
and it was
screen,
and it
in
was
person.
pretty an enjoyable segment. You'd come in, blow the whistle, ask questions, completely ridiculous. But then they finally had Mike Brennan do one of these like
In perfect timing with 2 home games left.
Absolutely. So it's like he was like, "Hey, what's up, fans?"
He has a globe. He has a globe.
He's got a globe in his hand, like, all right, how many countries are represented on this? Completely monotone, but he's got the Jersey accent because he's from the great town of Bayonne. Yeah, we love Bayonne, New
Not
Jersey.
Roslyn.
Yeah, not none of the Smith Town, Long Island.
We love Smithtown.
Trash.
Roslyn,
We do not love
Roslyn
Smithtown.
on the
They're
orange
friends of the
line
show.
and the blue line.
We do love the orange line. So kudos to that. Thumbs up. I'm going to be hitting home this weekend, this upcoming weekend.
Bunting though.
So that's good. I am bunting home. So a little. I'm not going to be home for spring break, but I'm going to be home this weekend. So if you're in the Allendale area, please give me a call.
Will do.
Or send me a letter. Send me a postcard.
I'll send you a PPM.
Okay.
Right to us that I still have a BlackBerry PO box.
Thumbs down
159.
to Jaron Berman, who's rocking camera, for talking. We all know that the only camera guy that's allowed to talk during the show is me. When I famously shouted during the NBA preview segment, "Give the people what they want," to quote our good friend Jalen Rose, another friend of the show. Thumbs up.
He
to,
won. He was the winning coach in the celebrity game.
He was, and the celebrity game is terrible. Thumbs up to I'm just.
Arnie Duncan, MVP.
I forgot.
Double-double.
One of my thumbs up. Thumbs up to Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir, have been like the secondary crew for figure skating on NBC SN with our good buddy Terry Gannon. Not a friend of the show, but a personal friend. And they've been awesome. Like their commentary has been even better than what these guys bring on a daily basis. And we're gonna keep bringing you more excellent commentary coming up. Future editions of SportsZone. Will there be an episode next week? Who knows? I won't
Tune
be
in
here.
and find out.
Tune in to
find
find out.
And sit here for an hour and see.
For-
Oh, there's nothing.
For everyone here at SportsZone, everyone here at ATV, not the clowns at WVAU. Actually, speaking of WVAU, I want to give a good thumbs up to my good friend Michael Gardner, congratulating him on a 4-year anniversary of the one and only hit radio show. Whatever his radio show was called. It's been on the air for 4 years, not 5, 4. I've been on it for 2.5, and it's
Could be
pretty much
5.
great. But for everyone at SportsZone and ATV and American University as a whole, thank you very much for watching. We will see you
Eventually.
next time, or eventually.